Hello and welcome back. More interesting finds over the new year. Well, I spotted some adverts for some Sennheiser mics and talked about that sort of thing, you know, the drum overheads, instruments, that sort of thing. And there is quite a popular, fairly cheap Sennheiser, a 614, the E614. And I just looked on that screen there, and they're currently about £150. So, you know, it's not cheap for a microphone, but they're normally quite nice microphones. I had some before, but I've bought a crop of slightly weird ones. What do I mean by weird? I'll explain. So I thought what we do is have a look at the E614. The 614 is quite a compact, short microphone. And this one I got from Aliexpress. And I didn't pay £150 for it. So this is our first Chinese 614. And if I compare it to the one on the screen here, it looks very similar. In actual fact, I think the label on the side is quite discreetly. It's grey on a dark grey microphone. So grey on dark grey, so it doesn't jump out and shout at you. The real Sennheiser, I'm pretty sure, has got a much brighter and more defined label on. I could be wrong on that one, but I don't have a real one to check it with. But that's the 614. I got an even cheaper one. That also says 614. That's all it says on it. It doesn't actually say Sennheiser. But clearly it's longer. So it definitely doesn't look like a Sennheiser. It's got a different grille. And very oddly, this microphone is clearly meant to have bugger. So this one, which is longer than a real 614, does have an unscrewable capsule. I can't find any trace of other capsules like Hypers or Omnis being available, but that's sort of how it comes. So it might be good, might be awful. Don't know yet. That's one of the tests. The other thing I've got, which I found for sale, a Sennheiser 917. Now, a Sennheiser 917 doesn't seem to actually exist. There is no Sennheiser model 917 that I'm able to find any information out of. It looks quite a nice mic. Again, the capsule unscrews. But that's a bit odd because I can't find any trace at all of Sennheiser ever making one called a 917. So if you're going to copy a microphone, would you not copy one that exists rather than make this branded with a 617? And if you Google it, you won't find anything. It's bizarre. So I've got three here. Now, what I'm planning to do a bit later is use lots of microphones to record a grand piano. So I've got a series of grand piano recordings in the pipeline. And what I'm going to do is use really nice microphones, and I'm going to use some pretty dirt cheap microphones as well. Same piano, same places, and see what the differences are. But I'll give you a go on what these sound like just on their own. So okay, let's do the first of these. And we'll use the one that looks the same as a Sennheiser 614. So it's the one that's the most accurate copy. So we're on the SM7B at the moment, the reference mic we always use. So it's a dynamic. And we're going to switch to a condenser. So hopefully when we switch to a condenser, we should get an immediate brightness change in our voice. You know, the thing that condensers are well known to do. So we should go from the SM7B to the fake Sennheiser 614. So that's what you listen to me on now. We're using identical preamps. The odd thing really is that the gain I'm having to use on the condenser is a bit higher than the SM7B that's got an inline preamp. So normally whenever you sort of swap those things, the gain is pretty close, but in actual fact this electric condenser does appear to be slightly lower in gain than I actually expected. But anyway, it's not a big deal. But that's been switching about between the two. So that's the first bit of the test. So let's swap out this fairly accurate copy for the one that doesn't look anything like a 614. So what I've done, I've switched them out. We've now got the fake 614, the one that doesn't look anything like a 614, the one that's longer. It's a little bit higher gain. Keep switching between the two so you get an idea of the difference, so we can always go back to the reference mic so we know what the standard was. But this one looks okay. It's quite well made, I think. It doesn't look particularly cheap and nasty or anything. It just doesn't look like a 614. Perhaps we'll give the one that doesn't look like anything a go now. Hold on. Now we're on the Sennheiser 917. Not that Sennheiser appeared to have made a 917, of course. But again, we're looking at this. The gain is a bit lower. So we've got slightly lower gain with the fake 917 than we had with the other one. But it's about the same as the gain that we got with the 914, the one that looks like a 914. So tonally, it'll be interesting to see what the differences are on my voice. And in this later video, we'll also give all these a blast on a piano and see if they actually enhance or make it sound worse. I suppose the thing I want to do with the piano test is find out, can we record a grand piano with a cheap mic and make it sound nice? So it's going to be an interesting thing to explain and see what actually happens when we try some less than expensive microphones on pianos. But there you go. So you've had a bit of a go with these two. I do also have a pair of microphones that have appeared, and they're not fakes. They're actually labelled and come in a little set. So I'm going to give those a blast in a future video, and we'll see what they're like. But that's for the next video. So let's just compare these then. Well, that wasn't the result I expected or wanted. I always do these things blind. I don't listen to microphones before I do the test. I always listen afterwards. And that was a shock, because the 614, the one that looks the most like a real 614, is complete rubbish. The 917, the one that doesn't exist, that's noisy too. I mean, both of these are completely unusable microphones. What worries me, though, is that the 614 comes in a decent Sennheiser box. So a lot of people are going to be going on Amazon, eBay, other places like that, and they might buy these thinking they're real. And not only are they not real, they're rubbish. So there is a danger that people are going to be taken for a ride with these ones. So honestly, if you want a 614, get it from a dealer who you trust. There is no point ordering something, even if you order it from Aliexpress. You're going to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get the thing. You've paid some money, and then you get something that is unusable. This needs to be watched, doesn't it? The very strange thing is that the best sounding one was the one that doesn't really exist. It's labelled 614. No, it doesn't say Sennheiser, so it's not a counterfeit. doesn't look like a Sennheiser. So this one would be quite a legitimate microphone to buy. And indeed, this, I think, was originally supplied in a drum set, you know, a cheap drum set. And this is going to do an overhead job pretty well, I would think. All things considered, the 614, I think I'm going to put in the little test when we do it on the piano, because I think it'll do a reasonable job on a piano. These two, I mean, they're just not usable at all. It's very sad. Anyway, not the result I wanted or hoped, but it's proof of how dangerous it can sometimes be to buy the Chinese microphones, thinking you're going to get a bargain and you're not. You just wasted your money. I'll see you on the next video. Look after yourselves. Take care.